we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. There is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with
All right,
it.
welcome to episode 177 of the Abuse Hour. It is I, your host, Coffee Long, coming to you unsupervised, unmedicated, and an unchecked threat to society. So, kind of putting out an episode a little quicker than normal, but I had some thoughts that I wanted to get out, man, and I guess sometimes I take longer than is reasonable to get an episode out, so why not put something out a little quicker? Yes, why indeed? So before we get to the meat of the thing, man, I'll tell you what, I saw the most broke dick movie I might have ever seen, and I had completely forgotten that it was even a thing for a while, but I watched that movie Disclosure Day yesterday, and I will tell you what, I remember when they were talking like, this is the duck's nuts, dude. You're going to want to see this. And I watched this thing, and now, like, you didn't hear anything about it for a while. I don't remember what else was on at the same time. It feels like there was some other movie that was on that was supposed to be, like, a big deal. But it was like, oh, yeah, that and this is going to be really cool. And it's almost like this precursor to some kind of, like, disclosure of, like, all right, Hollywood, all right, Steven Spielberg, you got us. Yeah, aliens is out there. Lizard people walks amongst us and shit. And, man, I watched this, and it sucked. It sucked so bad. It was almost like if a bunch of us got together and made a movie. And, like, what if you had bottomless money to make a completely ass movie that just completely sucked in every imaginable way? I mean, dude, it had everything. It was, I mean, you can kind of tell that I think that, like your Steven Spielberg caliber, like somebody that's been, the guy's got more money than sense, long and short. The guy lives in an echo chamber, people telling him things are a good idea that are definitely not a good idea. So I'm watching this thing, and I mean, this had everything, dude. I mean, a lot of what was really hateable, and I'll come to the part that's like, the part that I subtly hated the most at the end of this, but some of the stuff I really hated about this was that it had like that early 90s feel of movies where like things are over the top and like you just got a hold of this computer generated type thing. So you're making like a guy's going to pick up his piece of ass out of some house where he left her while he's running from the cops. So he drives through the house and stops in the house in his car and grabs her, puts her in the car, and the cops the whole time are just kind of fumble fucking through, getting out of their car and trying to get their weapon out and yelling stop and hey you. And meanwhile, and of course, he's a nebbishy little researcher with a head for numbers. Oh, God, I never thought I'd be in the middle of something like this. But he just manages to outsmart everybody. Everybody else so stupid and slow. And this guy, he's amazing. He's way smarter. He's got a plan that you don't have. And he jumps in his car and drives out the back of the house now with his goofball former nun, right? His girlfriend who's a former nun. So little nebbishy researcher, his name's Daniel. Daniel, I think it's Daniel. It's Daniel or David. What else could it be, right? But it is one of those. I'm pretty sure it was Daniel. Daniel, oh, good. So Daniel goes and gets his girlfriend, whom he's banging, and they run out the back of the house. They drive in their car all the way through the house, and the cops can't get them. And, of course, somehow they, it's like O.J. Simpson-style car chase, and somehow they outsmart them again, and they run off into the woods. They're fine now. They're just fine. They ran into the woods. They're okay. Search is over. So it was stupid, dude. It had every trope. It had the brilliant black female researchers. It had the only person who really knows what's going on is the old black dude. Old black dude, he knows everything. Why you talk like that? You just sound silly. And everybody's condescending and preachy. And of course, the bad guys are like, no, I'm not listening to anything. No. And it's all white dudes. So all the henchmen, all of the bad bunny ears bad guys. No, it has to be this way. It has to, because I've invested too much time in this, and it has to be like this. And it's all white dudes, of course. So it was shit. And at the end of the day, the only takeaway here is these aliens are our friends, man. I don't know. I thought they're supposed to be like small grays or whatever, but at the end, and this was getting to the part that really irritates me. At the end, they sort of figure out that how they're talking through this. Oh, they had this one woman that was like, oh, she's gifted. She's just gifted. The aliens speak through her, and she knows everything about you. She knows everything about everything, and she's good at everything. And I'm like, man, come on. It's so tedious, dude. It is so tedious. It's always so you got like genius woman, genius Hebrew, genius black, and they're just out there trying to help you, man, if you would just listen. So at the end, the big takeaway is that, no, man, see, the reason I know everything about everybody is because these aliens, man, they affected me and they made me be more like them. So I feel what you feel and I know what you know, and just got to have a little empathy. That's the thing. We're going to have world peace through empathy. That's the takeaway. And it's going to be these Africans and these women and these Hebrews who guide the way. And you, Whitey, you just got to get on board. You just got to get with the program. So now the part that really bothered me the most, and this bothered me throughout, but I couldn't completely put my finger on it till the end when I'm seeing it, is that now at the end, so this woman, she breaks into the news station that she works out, and she's just the weather bimbo. But, you know, of course, she becomes super smart girl, and she knows everything, and now she's the alien spokesperson. So everybody in the studio is like, well, yeah, she's got something to say. Let's hear her out, and let's put her on national TV, and everybody's on board with this. And then the rotten white people try to cut the power, but she uses her magical alien powers to make the power be back on so she could transmit. And finally, the bad white guy says, you know what? Fuck it, bro. Let's just go with it. So they just go with it, and within 10 minutes, they've got the most important, the head alien, I don't know, what do you call this, head alien delegate on Earth, and he's not a small gray, he's a huge gray, but he's in a wheelchair because he's very old, and he finally stands up and pulls himself out of his wheelchair, and now there's this giant alien standing there, and I'm like, wait, was that guy up the road at the Motel 6 or something? What's going on? Like, how's everybody getting everywhere so fast? And this was the thing that made me nuts. And I, you know, like I talked about last time, you watch a movie, man, I know these are actors, dude. I know it's a story. I know there's artificiality, but, you know, like you pretend that's not happening. Why? Like watching wrestling. You pretend it's real for a little while. It's entertainment, right? But when you put so many stupid things into a thing, it's like, you're ruining this, dude. What is this? So this thing was like, wherever somebody is, right? Like they're trying to find the little nebbishy researcher and his ex-nun girlfriend who he's banging. They're trying to find them. They're somewhere in the country. Let's use our psychic skills and our research skills. Oh, I saw part of a road sign. He must be here. So they point to this spot on the map. Okay, like we'll play ball. Pretend you magically found them. But now he's here. Okay, get some people over there. And within an hour, they're hauling ass up the road. Oh, man, we've been compromised. We got to run out the back. Like, everybody is always 10 minutes away from everybody else. In real life, it's like, you know, it's like they look in like, well, who else isn't at work today? Who is he in league with? This person and this person. Pull up their phone records and track them. Yes, sir. Here they are. Like, dude, what was that, 30 seconds? Like, nothing in real life, even the best fucking operations don't happen this fucking fast. But it's really fucking irritating. So the end of this thing was like, oh, fuck it. Let's just come out with it and tell everybody everything. Bring the alien in from right outside. Like, the broad's still up here talking, doing her thing. They just want peace. They want to guide us. And da-da-da-da-da. Oh, yeah, just wheel the guy in. He was right outside this whole time. Like, what is this, a fucking stage play? It was so trashy. But just the idea, and this is, I guess, my overall take on this, was like the idea that somebody put this thing together. Somebody thought this thing out. People looked at it on paper. And then they started shooting it. And there's the people acting in it and the people putting it together and the people editing it. And then other people watched it and they said this is going to be a great idea. And nobody at any point said, you know, this is kind of fucking corny. This is actually dog shit, and this actually plays to every broke-ass Hollywood trope that everybody makes fun of us for. Why are we doing this exactly? Nobody said that. Everybody signed off on this and went ahead with it. So what makes me nuts, dude, and this I think speaks to a larger issue, is this idea that, like, your leftoid, they'll come to you and they'll talk about, there's some people, they'll always wheel out that picture of, like a good, how can one say, Austrian art student rally. Yes, and there's that one clown ass that's right in the middle of the crowd with his arms crossed. Well, I'm not doing it. I'm not so sure about this. So they'll all point to this and like, see, I'm that guy, dude. I don't care about the crowd, dude. I do what I think I should do, dude. In the meantime, you'll have something like this ass of a movie. You'll have something like your COVID, and these people will like, oh yeah, no, this is good to go, dude. This is thumbs up from me, man. I got nothing. This is top shelf. This is a good film. Those injections are a great idea. This guy over here said not to worry about it, so I'm not going to worry about it. Meanwhile, it's the people like us that they say, you're brainwashed. You see, that's the problem. Like, dude, like looking at this from the reverse grip, like we're the ones in the crowd with the crossed arms. Like, I'm not completely sold on this. Like, it's maddening. It makes your head hurt, but this is what we're stuck with, man. Anyway, that was just, I watched that yesterday and it really irritated me. And normally I would never tell somebody I spent any kind of time looking at something like that, but it was just so bad. I thought I would pass it along to you, let you suffer a little bit too. Anyways, so today I wanted to hit on some of the goings on, man. This Iran situation is escalating considerably. I want to hit on some of what that might be in terms of the way ahead, especially as it applies to this Israel situation, which, like, nobody's signing off on this. Nobody digs this stupid idea of, like, hey, look, we're one big happy club now. Then we've got, I want to hit on the Shiloh Hendricks thing real quick, like really just an overview, and really what that means looking ahead in terms of what it could mean for us and what we might end up staring down the barrel of going ahead. And then lastly, looking at the potential options of something I have mentioned off and on several times of where else can I be? Where else can I take off to? And I could dig, like one cat mentioned in the chat, I think it was Daniel, who says, no, man, it's your country. You stay and you fight. And, bro, I will tell you that there's a, how can one say, there's a balance to it. There is a balance to it. You have to go into a fight feeling like you're a guy who can beat literally anyone. But you also got to not enter into a fight unless you're sure it's a fight you can win. So in my mind, if things get extremely hectic, get extremely sideways, I don't see a problem with like, yeah, I'm just going to duck out. I'm just going to be over here for a little while until things cool off. And then maybe I come back, whatever, and we do what we do. But it's definitely an option I would recommend keeping open if you have the means and wherewithal to line it up. So I want to go over a little bit of that today because I have made some progress. I've talked about it before, really more in a conceptual way, but I've had more than a few conversations about this, so I want to let you know what I have found out. First, though, I'll tell you this, man. I had been throwing around the idea of, like, I listened to a couple things. I listened to a few bro-vet type podcasts that are really starting, the decent ones anywhere, shifting away from the bro-vet type tip. And they're shifting more into like, dude, what is going on with these coin clippers? These people are no good. So in particular, I'm thinking of this dude, Valhalla VFT, former Green Beret type dude. And that guy has shifted from like straight company man, Lawbert, our greatest ally, flag waving type dude, and this dude has shifted straight to like I don't think he would ever say it, like he wouldn't grasp it or he'd be cool with it in real life, but this is our guy. This guy is like, yeah, what the hell is going on out here? These coin clippers, these people are not our friends. Both parties, they both suck, they both got to go. So I'm like, well, I'm trying to help you. But like everything, man, give it time. Anyway, I was listening to that guy talk, and he's talking about with his, YouTube channel. He's talking about, dude, I can sit here and watch the numbers in real time just get chopped. I can sit here and watch and see people get unsubscribed, and people hit me up and say, dude, I've subscribed to you like 3 times and I keep going away. And he's like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what else to tell you, man. It just is what it is. But and I'm not trying to say like, dude, my product is anywhere as decent as a lot of these guys putting stuff out. But I mean, I've had channels up. I've had a YouTube up for, I don't know, a year and change at least. I've had it like, decent traction on Telegram and all. But I mean, when I look at YouTube, especially, dude, it's been at like 80 something for the entire time. Like, it hit that, and like, that's it. That is what you get. We will not show this to anyone else. Don't even ask. I'm like, what the hell? So I had floated the idea of like, hey, what if I did like a more sterilized, more public-friendly type product and put it out like completely rebooted and, I don't know, tried to tiptoe through the tulips a little bit. I don't know how good I'd be at that, but, old dog, new trick and such. But like, what if I put out an all new product and just see how it did, and then I could make it like a shorter format, just hit the highlights, and then get down the road. And of course, being the good necktie friend that he is, our friend and yours, Lord Marcus, commented that, yeah, so you wanted to avoid the AI ban hammer, and your idea was to call something the casual extremist. I don't know that that's that great of an idea. Like, yeah, all right, well, yeah, maybe not, dude. It's the name of a boat I used to own. Quit picking on me. It's the name of my favorite racehorse. Anyway, yeah, I don't know that I'm going to do that. Instead, I'll just jock you characters to just, I don't know, man. If you hear something good in here, pass it along. Pass it to somebody. I dare you. Anyway, I mean, it ain't that important to me that, I don't need a massive following or nothing like that. But if there's somebody out there that could use a decent idea, I don't want to jam them up just because I can't stop dropping the hard R in public. You know what I mean? Anyway, so moving along from the last, episode 176, there was a couple questions that came up in the chat, and it was centered around, like, because in that episode I talked about the military and how much even when I was there, it was a catastrophe, and that's years ago. I mean, I can't imagine that it's improved. And based on what you see on the television, it looks at least decidedly worse. Like, if, you're going to drop a bomb and random people are going to get killed, what are those people going to look like? Well, in 1980-something, 1990-something, they would look like you or me. Now they look like the checkout line at Walmart. So what does that suggest to you, right? Like, this is not in a state of improvement. But the question then was, well, how does this machine even stay propped up? Like, how, if it's this many incompetent people, like, how is this staying propped up? Dude, I'll say just barely, and I'll probably say that to a large degree, it's not. I mean, if you look at dudes that have been in the military, will tell you this too. Like, if you look at militaries in other parts of the world, I think we're just shifting more to that model. Like, I've actually worked with militaries where, like, these people show up wearing their own clothes. Like, you got a uniform, but you wear that uniform when you're, like, if you're going to go shoot at somebody or you're going to stand out here or do a parade or something. The rest of the time you wear your own clothes, man. This is not a soup kitchen where I just give you clothes, for every day of the week. Like, you got one uniform, wear it when you need a uniform. The rest of the time you wear your flip-flops, wear your busted-up T-shirt. You're in the military. Congratulations. Right? And then you've got your officer class, but we'll come to that. So the other question then was that, if it's that screwed up, I mean, how do they decide who's going to run this thing? Like, what goes on? I'd say in a lot of ways it runs just like any company runs, where you bring in all the diversity, you bring in all the whatever, women in STEM. Like, I'm super smart. Like, I had a roommate who said I was like smart and everything. So you bring all this stuff in, but now we all know how it functions. It functions like somebody's got to keep this thing up and running. And that's usually going to be a very small cross-section of people. And, dude, I can tell you, I saw this even at the pointiest end of the spear, as it were, where it was like there were probably a larger than normal number of good people. But I think they call it the Pareto rule, where it's 80-20. 80%, 20%. And everything functions like this. Like, 20% of the people are doing 80% of the stupid things. 20% of the people are paying for 80% of the shenanigans. 20% of the people are going to suck up 80% of the time. Any of this kind of thing. It's just called the Pareto rule. So many things break down to 80-20. But it was probably slightly above this, which is what made it like a high-level organization. But still, I would say it wasn't even 50-50, maybe like 30-70, where like 30% of the people are handling 70% of the really heavy work. And the rest of these people are just like, beep, beep, like just horsing around, hanging out. I can't remember if I told the story on here before, but I was at a Clowns in Action, agency scene far out in the middle of nowhere. And it was a high priority, like a high dollar situation. This was not fucking our man in Bangladesh or something. This was like a scene. And I walk in here and I'm like, I expected legit like James Bond type shit, dude. And I walked in here and it was Soul Brother like no other. And I'm pretty sure I told this story before, but it was Man Love Thursday where, nobody's talking to anybody on Friday because it's Mosque Day. So Man Love Thursday, everybody hangs out, horses around. So these clowns are having a few drinks. And Soul Brother, like no other, I shit you not, has got a leopard skin cup and a bottle of Alizette. And all of the operatives, we'll just leave it at that, at this location were all like just out of college type college girls. I was like, what is going on here? And it was not, you might think like, oh, you go overseas, oh, you deploy, you're in the shit, and now you step in here and it's a gaggle of college girls. Like, well, this is sweet. It was not sweet, dude. It was empowered feminists. Like, these broads were doing keg stands probably a year ago, and now they're out here, like, high-fiving each other, like they're out here setting the world straight. And things were all screwed up before I got here, and thank God I'm here with girl power, and I'm better than everybody at everything, and you better get out of my way, and this kind of shit. I was like, dude, this is unreal. It was incredibly stupid. And there was only probably two dudes on the operation and analysis side that were really, really solid, that were really impressive. And then there was one dude, probably a good 2-3 dudes on the operator, like gunslinging side, that were like shit hot. And they, of course, had one guy that was like kind of a fuckstick balloon head that was like, I'm our man liaising with, like, shut the fuck up, dude. But it's like you see this shit everywhere, dude. It's like a few people, an increasingly small number of people that get stuck carrying the water for the rest of the people, and then they'll all high-five each other like they're keeping the bicycle up. It's madness. Further down that line, though, is the question kind of followed on that, like, well, how does this, are there people that don't see this, or what about the people at the top? Are they just unaffected by this? And I will say, yeah, that is just like real life, just like the eye at the top of the pyramid. There's people that are completely separate from this. Like, they are living that Perfume Prince life, and they're not that far from you. You see where they live. Dude, I worked at places where, like, I would be, I was in some situations where I did not have to live like at a base. So I would live in different places, sometimes multiple places. But you live in a shithole. Like, don't get it fucking twisted. Like, you're not fucking Sean Connery walking into, like, this is one of my many flats that I keep in the city for just such an occasion, and I let my hoes stay here when they need a spot. Like, no, it's not like that at all, dude. Like, you live in a shitbox. You live in that shitbox hotel sometimes. You live in this shitbox house other times. Everything about your life is ass. It's on the cheap, dude. And they look at you like, yeah, because cheap suits you. You're a cheap person. You could be had easily. So this is where you live. But now these people calling the shots, like the legit fucking shot callers, the big wheels, they're living nice, dude. They live off someplace. They live anywhere you go. Like, pick a fucking country, and, wherever the rich people live, they live there in that very exclusive place. And it's a very weird feel where, like, it's almost like everybody knows, like, there's no big armed security here. Yeah, my neighbors are wealthy. They know I'm American or whatever, and they probably know what I do, but who gives a shit, right? Because it doesn't fucking matter. It's like they're all in this fucking club. Like, yeah, he does this, he does that, but you down there, Shnook Britches, like you just go and suck. Like, okay, cool. And maybe you get shot, maybe you got to shoot somebody, and I'll get up your ass with a microscope and see if I can hang you for it. But us at this level, it won't matter. It'll work out, and you're just left to deal with the diversity and get by as best you can. So, I mean, yeah, they see it. They just don't care. And then, of course, like the technology. Yeah, technology does help, but what it does appear to be as well, though, is that somebody's got to maintain the technology. So it's like you try to say, well, let's get rid of these, all these people we have to depend on, but we'll use this technology, which is going to require people to maintain it. Because Tyrone can't maintain that. Yeah, Shaniqua can't maintain that. They'll steal it and pawn it, but they sure as shit can't maintain it. So, again, what does that equate to? That equates to, again, somebody else coming out here to do this thing. But I don't know. Some of that might, as the military goes anyways, might get a pause because of what appears to be coming down the pipe with this Iran thing. It has picked up speed, most assuredly, the last couple days. So one of several things that has happened is that this business with basically merging the U.S. and Israeli militaries in terms of, and people have tried to walk it back and this and that, but basically merging for all intents and purposes in terms of who can send them to do work, where does the funding go, where does the funding come from. It's all under one umbrella now. So that's very not good. And while everybody sees that, literally every American everywhere is like, yeah, this isn't that good of an idea. I don't really like this very much. I think there is a way that they're going to try to make this work out. That they're going to make you cheer for it. Not you personally. Us, obviously. We're never going to cheer for that. But you're Joe in the street. They're going to make him cheer for it. And I will get to how here forthwith. So apart from that, the Trump administration has been pounding these Iranians. They've hit, there's not that many military targets left to hit. And they're talking now about looking at infrastructure. So apart from that, the Houthi gang has risen up and has started hitting Saudi infrastructure, specifically their Aramco petroleum infrastructure, and declaring that Bab al-Mandar, that other little strait kind of on the other side from Straits of Hormuz. They're saying, hey, this is closed now. Guess what? Closed. So things are going to start getting very expensive really quick. So by the time you're hearing this, man, if your gas is not topped off and you don't have any in the garage, I would go and do that now. I would pause this and go and do that now because it's going to get spendy here before long. So, yeah, that has kind of come along with the U.S. hammering Iran. And now I'm seeing this morning that, U.S. is going to pause bombing, because the Houthis have gotten involved, and, we're going to see what we could work out. And I don't, this is kind of following that casual on Friday and then it goes to shit on Monday type model. But I think it's going to get dodgy here pretty quick because the strategic petroleum reserve has not been topped off at all. Like, not a whole hell of a lot got out during that memorandum of understanding type pause. So we didn't really top up anything. So now that we're dipping back into it, prices are going to start going up, and they're going to go up faster than they were before, especially with these Houthis getting involved how they are now. The interesting part here is that Israel has kind of stepped back from all of this. And I'll tell you why I think that will work in their favor and will work as a way to sucker us into supporting these idiots. So essentially what Trump has been talking about is that if they don't start playing ball, they don't smarten up, I'm going to hit them harder than they've ever been hit before. I'm going to pull out all the stops. And what that suggests is, dude, you've thrown everything you've got at them. Thrown literally everything you have at them. And they're still giving you the finger. Like, yeah, up yours, dude. So what that suggests then is how can you deal with this? Because you ain't got all day for this. You really do not. You are going to need to get that turn back on. Let me say it this way. Coming up is the midterms, right? And all of the conventional knowledge is that these Republicans are going to get smashed in the midterms because of what a shit show the orange retard has turned this into. However, some analysis is talking about if there were to be a mass casualty event, because that's something else Iran is talking about. Like, you want to hit our civilian infrastructure, you want to hit our civilians, okay, we're going to start doing the same thing then, just so you know, letting you know. So there's some analysis that says that, if there is a mass casualty event, then that will actually play in these Republicans' favor. So what that would tell you then is that for things to get better for them, for these Republicans, things have to get worse for you. So there's like a trade-off. There's a balancing act. And again, try to remember, like, your regular Joe, your normie, they don't see things the way we do. They haven't been watching this as long, and they're not looking at it through the same filter. So where we look at it and we go, well, I see who benefits. I see who's getting paid. I see what the plan has been since 1913, for crying out loud. I see what all of this is leading up to. So yeah, this all makes sense. They can't see that, and they'll turn it into like, well, these damn Democrats, or these racist old white men, and it's painful to look at because it only comes for them in like, they're like Tyrone in that sense. They can only see the world in like 15-minute pieces. Like, you don't remember what happened 2 weeks ago? What are you even talking about? He never said that. I never said that. So if things are bad, like if things are bad for you, then all your normie says eventually is like, someone has to do something. Oh my God, these Iranians are so horrible. Won't somebody do something? But if your orange retard has already thrown everything he's got at them, short of Fat Man and Little Boy, yes, if he's already thrown everything he's got at them, and that's the only thing that's left on the table, what if there was a mass casualty event here and anything that loosely resembled a mass casualty, or maybe a foiled mass casualty attempt in Israel? Then Israel steps in, launches a nuke, ends that whole thing, and now instead of people here saying, hey, you can't just genocide people, now people here are saying, yay, thank God for Israel, and we're so lucky that we have this agreement where we're all in this together because they did what Orange Retard was unwilling to do, and they really saved our bacon. And if you were to look at it longer term, you go, yeah, but like they only half solved the problem that they completely created on their own anyways. You and I would say that, but people, seeing the world in Tyrone vision, they're not going to see shit. All they're going to see is like, yeah, I can get gas again. And plus, now I feel vindicated for, whatever the fake mass casualty thing is that probably got signed off on in D.C. someplace. So, in summary, in short, if I had to guess, what would be the easy way ahead is mass casualty in the U.S., foiled mass casualty in Israel. Orange Retard can't get the job done. Israel steps in, nukes Iran. Everybody thanks God and Jesus in heaven that we signed that deal and attached them to us, because boy, did we ever benefit. And now we're stuck with them forever. And that's going to be like the new 9/11 thing that, like, boy, look at this. Remember that? Remember that time? Like, yeah, buddy, yeah. How can we not remember the time? There's only a museum in every fucking town. Anyways, enough of that, dude. Looking over at the Shiloh Hendricks thing wrapped up, and it was pretty much as catastrophic as we all expected. But I do want to hit on this because, well, primarily it's because this is happening during a period in U.S. history where we would all say, many people would say, that the pendulum has swung to the right. So this, Shiloh Hendricks getting found guilty and getting, like a suspended 90-day sentence. I think it was 120 hours community service and a $1,000 fine. That is what it looks like when the pendulum has swung to the right? Are you serious? So I posted in the chat as well, I posted an interview with her lawyer, and that dude, I think he expressed it the way we all expressed it, and that dude said his take on it was, quote, this is fucking bullshit. That he says he felt like he was fighting, both the prosecutor and the judge. And I guess this judge, I don't remember what her first name is. Her last name's Daly, Judge Daly. And one of the prosecutors was some man with a hyphenated name, which I don't know if you've got one and you can defend it in some way, go ahead, I guess. And I don't mean like Vander something or, whatever. I mean like Smithington or something. Like, dude, it feels improper for a man. That's just what I think. Anyway, so one man with a hyphenated last name and then some other bookish little tool bag. It looks like he just stepped out of the prosecutor's chair at Nuremberg or something. Not a fan. Don't like any of them. But apparently, according to multiple reports, this particular judge has let off multiple sex offenders, including repeat offenders and offenders who have committed sexual assault against children. I think the youngest I saw was 9 and got like community service. There you go. Just no big deal. Go ahead. Or with like a suspended sentence, like absolutely nothing. No big deal. Yeah, go ahead. But this, going to ride this thing all the way into the sunset. So kind of I don't know, I won't even say an interesting thought experiment, but just kind of an illustration of how ridiculous this is. Imagine these people weren't at the same spot at the same time, and you heard about these things separately. So you've got the 9-year-old Somalian autist, which we'll come to that forthwith. You've got the Somalian convicted sex offender, and then you've got Shiloh Hendricks out with her kid dropping Mahard R. Imagine these 3 situations, but happening in different places. So you've got, on one hand, this 9-year-old not autistic kid. This warrants a going over because if you get a chance, and I know I've mentioned it before, but if you don't remember or you never heard of it, do look it up. The autism fraud in Minnesota. This is a racket that these Somalians run. One of many rackets that no doubt they didn't figure out themselves. Somebody helped them figure this out for a price, no doubt. But the idea here is you take your kid, get your kid diagnosed with autism. Now you get money from the state. You get special everything. And you don't have to do anything. All you got to do is, I don't know, maybe show up to an appointment once in a while and go, yes, he is still stupid. He doesn't speak much good. I wonder where he got that, Oh, he must be autistic. Here's money. Yeah. So this kid, not autistic, 9-year-old Somalian, stealing stuff from some woman's bag someplace, right? Say that's happening. Now on the other side, you've got a Somalian offender, guy who's a convicted sex offender, at a playground by himself, taking pictures of people, taking videos of people. Okay, seems fairly obvious. And now we've got Shiloh Hendricks dropping the hard R out at a wherever with her kid, drops a hard R. Okay, you can say that's distasteful, but now the question is, one of these three people got in trouble. One of these people got in big trouble. Had to go stand in front of the judge. Couldn't even phone it in. No, you're going to be in here. You're coming in here. I want to look at you. I'm going to get eyes on you. People are going to report on it. One of these people was in trouble. Which would you say it was? Was it the kid who was a fake autist stealing out of somebody's bag? Obviously multiple times. If you guessed that, you would be wrong. That kid did nothing wrong. You'll never hear about that kid again. Was it the convicted sex offender who was at a playground by himself with his phone out, obviously, videoing? No, you might have thought that. That would have been a good guess. Yeah, but no, that's not something we have a problem with. Is it the white mom with her kid dropping a hard R? Well, if you said that, maybe if she had Tourette's or she was just wildly disagreeable or she had a history of substance abuse and like she's just walking down the street abusing people, somebody said, man, you got to stop this. It became like a human interest story where she just will not quit it. She just keeps on it. Then maybe let's get her in somewhere. Maybe it comes up in the news, something, hey, this woman that goes around town. But that didn't happen that way. No, this happened after somebody was stealing from her. And then it happened after somebody else following her around, videoing her, egging her on. Then she's dropping the hard R, the social taboo, oh my goodness gracious, how will we all ever survive? If you guess that, that person's going to be in big trouble, then you would be correct. Yes, out of all of these three people, this is the one. This is the only person who got in trouble and didn't even get a slap on the wrist. And mind you, this is a misdemeanor. This is like a low-quality speeding ticket. This is like jaywalking. In fact, I'd say this is less than jaywalking. Jaywalking, you get yourself run over. Is that what you want? You drop a hard R, who does that really hurt? Who is really being hurt here? Because, sticks and stones and all that, right? Plus, you would think you're allowed to say things, aren't you? No, not here, not in Minnesota, not up in here, not up in here. So, yeah, so she got hassled by the man, picked up a misdemeanor conviction for which you had to appear. And now she's going to, get stuck picking up trash at the side of the road. And I'm sure that won't end in trouble. I'm sure no one will be following her around, hassling her. So if this is where we're at in a bunny ears, right-leaning America, what can we expect moving forward? Probably a whole hell of a lot worse. Yes? And if you recall, like this deal with Antifa being declared a terrorist organization, they are a terrorist organization. However, if that's the best you can do is to say that you people who set things on fire and attack people, you're a terrorist organization. Well, no shit. But that's really all you do, and you send a few people to jail. I don't remember what those people did exactly. I'm sure it wasn't savory, but I think it was like 5 or 6 people that got sentenced off of something. But that's it, dude. That's really it. And that's your version of right-leaning America. So what's going to happen when it swings back left? You think you being in this chat is going to end well? I assure you it probably will not. So what should we think then, man? For my money, my thinking is that we need to be prepared to get out of Dodge. And I don't mean in a sense of I got to get gone, stay gone. I'm talking in a spare tire capacity. Right? You look at that stupid little donut, the donut spare tire. You put that in your trunk. Like, nobody is putting Armor All on it. Nobody is talking about, it doesn't look as nice as the other tires. It's not meant to. It's not meant to be something you rely on. It's only something to get you to safety. It's only something to hold you over until you can get things back online, get things running properly again. It's not supposed to be a fix-all. It's a spare tire, Holmes. So the idea of, I don't want to live somewhere else. I don't want to abandon my country. I'm not saying abandon. I'm saying step back so you can step forward. So looking at that, man, what I have been looking at, I've been looking at this I really initially started this a pretty long time ago when I was very, very briefly a Bitcoin millionaire, and then it all crashed, and I made sure to get out right at the bottom, so I had nothing. But I've looked at a few different options for, like, how can a guy set up shop, other places, where can a guy go, where can a guy hide out, how long does it take to get this stuff lined up, all of these kinds of things. And there are a few things to consider when you start looking at where can I duck out. Because I'll tell you, one of my primary concerns is like, hey, Mr. Long, come on in here. We don't like the way that you talk about our greatest ally and our most important diversity assets. You understand black women built America, right? And you're only here as a privilege. So we'd like you to surrender your passport so we can get all over you and, publicly humiliate you and have you in here for a show trial about things we heard you saying. What I would want in that case is a means of leaving the country via, say, another passport, and then going somewhere else where I can hang out, hide out, and nobody's going to come a-looking for me and saying, hey, we need you back. Yeah? So, you could be like, well, we have a guy with his name going to, wherever, just say Mexico, right? Well, we see he took a flight to Mexico. Is he still in Mexico? Maybe you could ask Mexico, did he leave? Where did he go? If I left there on some other passport, well, where is he now? Man, I don't know. You going to scour the world for a thought criminal? Maybe they will, or maybe something else will come up, and that's what I would be counting on. So there's kind of a few things, a few nuts and bolts to consider when you're looking at this. There is just about any country on the planet, not any country, but most countries, there is a route to you getting a passport there or to you getting residency there. So residency then, let's like start small. Like residency is just saying that you have the right to be here. Okay? So if you're just there, like you say you go into a place with a U.S. passport, they could decide, like, hey, I just don't like you here. I don't want you here. I want you the fuck out. Okay? Like you don't have to go back to the U.S., but it means you can't stay here. And if there is some kind of a thing where like, hey, if anybody sees this guy, send him back. People will send you back because people are afraid of the U.S. So that's one of two reasons why you would want a passport somewhere else. If they decide like, hey, we want to bring you in here and try you for thought crime, cough up your passport. So you cough up your U.S. passport. If you got a passport somewhere else, you could still bolt. You can be like, yeah, I'm a citizen of wherever, and you roll out. If you are somewhere else, you're already somewhere else, you manage to get out, as you're ducking out the back door as they're coming in the front, and you get somewhere else where you've got permanent or even temporary residency. Like a temporary residency, essentially the only difference here is that your temporary residency is going to expire. So it could be like 3 years, 5 years, whatever. Your permanent residency, I think pretty much the shortest I saw was like 10 years. If you don't renew it, if you don't follow up with it, it'll just go away. But usually a permanent residency is like, yeah, dude, you can just be here. You have a right to live and work here. So if you get to somewhere else, then you could just stay there. And they're like, hey, we want this guy back. But if they don't even know you're there, and it's like, well, I don't know what to say, dude. He has a right to be here. So unless a lot of places, like if it's a place that's beholden to the U.S., maybe they cough you up. But if it's for something like thought crime, like if you kill somebody and they're like, hey, we want to try that guy for murder, probably you're going to get launched out. You're going to get coughed up. If it's thought crime, probably they're going to leave you be and be like, hey, he didn't do anything, dude. We're not kicking a guy out for political crimes or things will get hectic. I mean, you can't speak for the entire world, but that's a safe way to hedge your bets, I guess. Anyways, so looking at specific options then, the situation you've got is you can get passports. Usually this is going to involve either a lot of time or a lot of money. That's the only way to think of this. It's going to involve a lot of time or a lot of money. So some of these are called golden visas or golden passports or citizenship by investment. This is how it's usually referred to, citizenship by investment. Some of the cheapest places, and you're essentially buying citizenship, is what you're doing. So the way that this would work then is you would either purchase real estate and hang on to it for a given number of years or until your papers come through, whatever. Or you would just make a donation to some kind of a cause or stand up a business, usually a business that pays X number of dollars or whatever, local bongo money in taxes to that country. So it can't be like, Coffee's Hat Shack and I pay like $10 in taxes. I technically have a business, in whatever, the Caribbean. But I don't make any money, so I don't pay any taxes. So they're going to be like, no, I'm not doing that, dude. I'm not giving you citizenship so you can roam the world just because you opened a hat shack that doesn't do any business. They're not going to do that. So there's going to be a lot of money or a lot of time. On the time side, the way that this would work is that you would go someplace and you would try for getting lined up usually with temporary residency that would transform into permanent residency and then ultimately into citizenship. Some places you can get lined up with permanent residency that will in time become citizenship or that you have to apply for. And the presence requirement, this can also come up, and this also varies greatly by country. So some places they're going to say you have to be here, maintain a continuous presence here. I think Argentina is one of the places that you have to maintain a continuous presence there. I want to say 5 years. So either 5 years or 10 years. I think Spain was 10 years. I think Argentina was 5 years. A lot of places are like, you got to be here a lot, and you can't be gone more than 6 months out of the year. So you actually do have to be committed on some of these things. And usually what you're going to find if you look for this at all is that the nicer a place is, the more you're like, dude, I'd live there. Like all the places like I've talked to a lot of people from a lot of places, and when you talk to just about anybody, especially people from Europe, you say, where would you like to live? They'll say Spain, because Spain is like a cool vacation place. The weather is shit hot. It's right there next to Africa, which sucks, but still, I guess it's a nice place. I've been there once, but I haven't been all over the place. I've only been there once, but I liked it. I thought it was real cool. Some of the other places that people look at a lot, again, Argentina, Uruguay, these are popular places because they're pretty nice. They're nice places to live. So places like this, it's going to be expensive. It's going to be ludicrously expensive. There are some places where you can just kick down and you pay a shit ton of money. And I mean, if you're listening to this probably isn't you, but there are places where you kick down, you pay a shit ton of money, and you can have a passport in a few months. That's the news. So one of these places was a place called Vanuatu, and this is like island nation, bro. Like boom, 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 boom. And I can't remember what the price tag is. I want to think it was like $100,000, $120,000, something like this. You kick this down, you're basically paying this. So you're basically buying citizenship to kind of a shitbox country. But I think it was like 100, 110, 120 grand, something like this. And you're basically buying citizenship. Another couple was like St. Lucia and Grenada, I think, was there. But these, again, like these are citizenship by investment. Nevis and St. Kitts was one that was popular for a while. That's where Dan Bilzerian got one. And that was really hep, like probably 10 years ago when people really started talking about that. And that was only like, well, it was $100,000, but it was $100,000 like 10, 12 years ago. So I don't know what it is now. But a lot of these are places that are like you pay money and you can get citizenship. If you have that kind of cheese to throw around, you could look at this. A lot of places have this. Spain has this. Turkey has this. I think Portugal has this. You can just look at it like citizenship by investment. If you've got this kind of money or you can come up with this kind of money, you can get something lined up really quick, which is not a bad deal. There are some that are like, hey, if you buy property here. So Serbia was one. I actually had a conversation with a Serbian lawyer and told me about this, and I can't remember what the minimum is. However, and again, this is a lot of places too. So citizenship by investment here is investing in real estate. But the deal in Serbia was if you buy a piece of property, you're not giving them this money, you're buying a place, so you own it. And now you're going to get a passport straight away. The trouble here is that if that currency is at all unstable and now like you apply for this thing, but now the currency takes a shit, now it becomes like, well, we're going to change it. So you're going to have to invest more, or you're going to have to buy something else, or you're going to have to pay a lawyer to go and request a waiver because of, whatever. Who the fuck knows, dude? Like, you're trying to move to the third world. What do you want? Another issue with, East Bloc, if you will. And I mean, dude, I like East Bloc. I like the idea of the Balkan states. I think it would probably be a cool place to set up shop. It's just that its proximity to Russia and being kind of that stuck in between Western Europe and Russia, and especially a place like Serbia. They've been talking about wanting to get pulled into the EU, if you can imagine that, right? Why the fuck would you want that? But they've been talking about that, and there's been some civil unrest the last, I want to say like 6 months. There's been civil unrest over this, like the occasional riot and so on. A lot of people aren't too terribly stoked on their President Vucic. But in all, though, I don't know that it's a bad scene. Places like Montenegro. So Montenegro is another one of these places, like it's really nice. People go there on vacation, but trying to get set up there, that's really heavy on the time requirement. They're going to say, like, if you want to be here, you got to be here. You're not going to just buy your way in here, and it's not going to be cheap. One that I've been looking at, I'll tell you a couple that I've been looking at. I read about Paraguay, and the deal on Paraguay is like it's a landlocked country. It's like pyramid walkers, the deal, the Guatemalans, man. But again, I'm thinking spare tire, dude. Like this is the donut of donut tires, dude. It's third world and then some, but it's also relatively cheap in terms of like, what do I got to kick down here to get on this train? And there are a few where like if you kick down, you get on the train for like permanent residency, hang on to it for a few years. I think Paraguay was like 5 years. Hang on to it for 5 years, and now you can apply for citizenship. Another one is Panama. So the deal with Panama is it's actually pretty easy, it would appear, to get residency. You just have to demonstrate income. A lot of these places are like you just put money in the bank and leave it there, like a certain amount, and demonstrate that you have income. And like, okay, man, we'll say you can come in whenever you want, no big deal. And now you have residency. The deal there, though, was to get citizenship in Panama is a much bigger dick dance than it is in like a Paraguay, because it's still crummy Panama, but it's a little bit nicer. Yeah, a little farther up the food chain. Maybe not nicer, maybe not as bad is the way to say it. But yeah, there's going to be like legit time involved that you've got to like get on the ground and actually be there. And all these places have like their own rules as far as like, you got to be here, your clock starts whenever, you can only be gone for so long, this kind of thing. All these places have different rules. So whatever you look at, like look at that place and like look at just that. One other place I was looking at, and this is really particular just to me because I have military background, was the Philippines, which is hilarious to even say. But they have a deal where I got to read up on it again, but it was like if you were retired military or retired, I think it was U.S. government or diplomat, or there's some criteria to it, but it did appear that like if you were just retired U.S. military, that you could apply for residency. But for each dude, I guess it really kind of comes down to what do you have to work with, like. Do you have a wife? Do you have kids? How much risk are you willing to assume? Do you have a bunch of money? Did you inherit some stocks that you could liquidate and buy citizenship in Turkey or something? Like, yeah, I think it was like 200 or 300 grand, and you can just buy citizenship. Now you're Turkish. Terrific. I don't know that I'd ever want that, but you can do it if you want, right? But yeah, I think it is just about coming time, though, where like people are going to start looking for this, and it ain't going to get cheaper. Because it's going to be a lot of Americans that are looking at like, dude, I might have to get the hell out of here, not permanently, at least for a little while till things cool down. And if that was the case, you don't want to be the guy filling out papers at the airport like, please let me stay. I guess, worst comes to worst. I'll tell you this, and I had looked at this, dude, like I said, I told you before, man. I mean, I told you before, like I looked at Russia because I had read about, we're going to stand up this visa. Dude, I looked at it. They've got a few options. They've got a thing called the shared values visa, which is like coming from, how did they put it, dude? I think it was like oppositional nations like U.S., U.K., Western Europe, this kind of thing. And if you're coming from those places, like, yeah, you could stay here a while till you get your shit together, and then we'll look at where you fit into this society. Reading more about traveling around or moving around in Russia, like, dude, I don't know that this would be the hot cock. I mean, it's already it's an exceedingly difficult language, man. I've studied it a little while, and it's idiotically hard, insanely hard. Plus the weather's cold. Plus the food sucks. So it's like, so the only real upside is I'm not, under the gun and on the run. You still kind of got to ask, like, well, is this really better? So I don't know. But they do have that. And I think their real estate investment thing was like 300 grand. Like you could get, I think it was permanent residence. Maybe it was citizenship. I don't know. For like 300 grand. If you had citizenship, you could move around easier. But otherwise, and probably on that shared values visa thing, I know just going as a tourist, like you have to register everywhere you go. Like it's very much like, where are you going? What are you doing today? Where are you staying tonight? All this kind of thing. So I don't know. I mean, unless you were really up against it, I don't know if that would be a really solid option. I saw one dude talking about Romania. That might be cool. I don't know. Get your wallet stolen every other block. But really though, dude, I mean, it just comes down to like, what kind of risk are you willing to assume? How comfortable are you with what level of third world? What kind of money do you have to work with? What kind of time do you have to work with? How much time can you spend in this place? If you've got nothing, and you're like me, then you're looking at some of these cheapo options like St. Lucia or Paraguay, or some of these El Cheapo deals. But yeah, that's about the size of it, man. So I'll leave you to it. And if you get a chance, do share this, pass it around to someone you know, pass it to someone you don't like, ruin their day too. Yes. If you're not sure where you got this, you can get it on all your crummy outlets, your Spotify, your YouTube, your iTunes. But where the real action is on Telegram, t.me/The Abuse Hour, and associated chat. And if you want to leave a guy a coffee, the link is just there. But until we meet again, keep your eyes on the horizon and keep your neck out of the noose. I have been Coffee. These are my takes.